Okay, we're gonna start off with a moving plank. So we're gonna do 40 seconds of each exercise today. We've been doing a minute the last few weeks, but we'll go back to 40 today. So if we, from a moving plank, we can either do on our elbows and then moving to the side, up, and then back down, and then to the side. Or we can do a full plank and then going into a side plank. Or we can hold an elbow plank or a modified plank. So you've got lots and lots of options today, depending on how you find planks and how much experience you've got in doing a plank. We're going to do 40 seconds. So choose your version. You've either got elbow to side, a full plank to side, or holding an elbow plank. Okay, so we're going to do 40 seconds starting now. So get into your plank position, and then we're going to come onto the side and then back to the other side, lifting the hips up, making sure that we're nice and engaged in that core area, and trying to keep neutral as well through the line when you come into that side plank. If you're holding an elbow plank, we're just lifting through the hips, or we might come down into a modified plank like this. Okay, that's 40 seconds, well done. So the next exercise we're going to do is mountain climbers. So again, we're going to go into that plank position, and we're going to do 40 seconds. So plank position, and then you're bringing your knees in between the hands. Just bringing them in and moving forward slightly over the hands. So hands are underneath the shoulders or just ahead of the shoulders. We're over halfway through now, just looking down at the floor so that we don't have an arch in the neck. Keep it going, we're nearly there. Okay, and then releasing back, that's 40 seconds. We're then going to go onto our backs for a glute bridge. So just lying on your back, lifting the hips up, excuse me, off the floor so that you're torso, so you've got a straight line from your knees to your hips to your armpits. And then we're lifting one leg and lowering it, and then swapping sides. So we lift that leg and then we lower it, bringing it back up to center. So making sure when we lower the leg, it just goes around a few inches off the floor. So just lift, lower, then come back to that straight leg position. Lift, lower, straight leg, placing the foot back on the floor. Keeping lifted through the hips. Keeping that nice straight line through from your hips all the way through to your knee. And we've got a few left to do. This is really working the core, the glutes, the hamstrings, and then back onto the ground. Okay, we're going to stay on our backs now, and we're going to go into dead bugs. So dead bugs, we're lifting the feet off the floor, so we've got knees in line with hips, ankles in line with the knees, and just hands going up towards the ceiling, and then pressing the lower back in. We're just alternating hand and leg. So making sure that lower back does not lift off the floor. If it does, you might need to have a little break. Keeping the neck extended, so looking at the ceiling, making sure there's no arch in the spine. Nearly there. Got a few more seconds. And then we're going to go back to the first exercise, that moving plank. Okay, last one. And then we're going to come back up onto all fours. Well, into that plank position. So remember, you've got several choices here. We can hold a modified plank, or we can come into a full plank and come to the side. Stacking one foot on top of the other when you go into that side plank. Lifting the hips, engaging through the core. We're already halfway through. If you find your hips starting to dip, just re-engage. Draw in through the belly. And we're going to do one more to each side. Okay, brilliant. And then we're going to go back into a plank position. And we're going into mountain climbers. So bringing the knees in between the hands. Breathing. If you need to take a little break, that's fine. Just looking down at the floor so that we're not arching through the spine or the neck. Pressing through the fingertips. A few more left, keep going. Okay, and then releasing down, so we're going to come back onto our backs again, into that glute bridge. So just lifting the hips up off the floor, making sure the toes are pointing forward, and then lifting alternate legs. That's it. Keeping nice and strong through the midline, midsection. And releasing down, last one. Trying to remember which side you started. Don't worry if you can't. Okay, and then we're going into our dead bug. So pressing the lower back into the floor. Lifting the feet and the hands. And we're going to do alternate hand to leg. So making sure that we've got our neck, just tucking the chin in slightly, pressing the lower back into the floor. And that foot just raised a little bit off the floor when you straighten it out. So should be hovering a few inches off the floor. Nearly there. If you need to take a break, you can do. We're just about to finish. Okay, and then we're going to come back up into our plank position. So into your plank, and we're going to go from side to side, or you can hold that modified plank. You can either hold it with straight arms or bent arms, or we can hold a bent arm plank, or we could be moving from side to side. Okay, we're over halfway through. Okay, so back into mountain climbers. It's going to feel tough now this time round, probably. If it didn't before, it probably will a bit now. So bring those knees in between the hands, looking down at the floor. Keep breathing. If you need a break, you can take a break. We're over halfway through. Nearly there. Engaging through the shoulders, making sure there's a little bit of bend in the elbows. And releasing down, well done. So just shift the hips back before we go onto our backs again. So just release there a little bit. And then we're going to go onto our backs for our glute bridge. So just lifting the hips up off the floor again. Sorry, got to get my timer. So lifting the hips up off the floor. And then lifting and lowering alternate legs. So we're lifting, lowering a few inches off the floor, and then lifting back to the start position, then bending the knee to bring it down. Keeping the hips nice and lifted high so that they're in that straight line, so they're not dipping down. And just finish off on the last one. Brilliant. Okay, last exercise. We've got our dead bug, so we're just lowering back down onto the floor, pressing the lower back into the floor, extending the neck so that the chin is tucked in slightly. And then hands, fingers pointing towards the ceiling, knees towards the ceiling. Just check your alignment here. And then alternate hand to leg, straightening out. So left arm and right leg straightened, hovering a few inches off the floor. Make sure that lower back is in contact with the floor. If it isn't, just have a little break and then come back to it. We'll just have a little bit of a rest in between. Okay, last one. Brilliant, okay. Well done. So we're now going to just hug the knees into the chest. And you can bring your head towards your knees as well. And then push the knees away a little bit, lower the head down to the floor. We'll do that again. And then one more. Okay, we'll just come up to sit. And then we'll just do a quick extension through the stomach. So just on all fours, shift the hips back. Take your knees out nice and wide. And then just allow the head to rest on the floor. You might want to shift your hips from side to side just to move into the hip joints. And then just release there for a few breaths. So we'll take 3 breaths in and out here. Breathing really full into the belly here. Allowing that area that you've been working, all that area to just release. And then one more. Okay, and then you can come back up to sit. Okay, well done. everybody. Thanks for joining me again this morning or today, and see you again soon.